Hello everybody and welcome to the life of a board gamer. My name is Daniel and today we are going to paint a medic from the Pit the board game, and this is really easy miniature to paint, very sharp details, so will be done very quickly. So let's get to it. First we are going with field blue, and with field blue we are going to paint all over his clothes under the armor, and we are going to paint this visor too and these three spheres he has on his head and everything around them. And you just use two thin coats to make everything look nice. When we are done with the field blue, we are going to use sky gray, and we are going to paint all over his armor, and also we're going to paint the gun and this medikit that he's carrying. So just apply two thin coats on entire miniature. Armor is finished, and now we are going to use noon oil, and there are lots of crevices on his armor, like for example on his helmet over here, and you just want to go and fill this in with this noon oil wash. And if you mess up a bit, don't worry, we are going to fix that in the next step. So be very careful not to mess out a lot, and just fill all these crevices with the wash. Be very neat about it. So wash part is done, and now we are going to use a white, and we are just going to highlight all the edges of the armor. And you can do this also by dry brushing, it's really up to you how you want to do it. I chose to do it like this because it gives you more crisp and better looking miniature, and you just highlight all the edges that you find on this miniature. Just be very subtle about it. So all the highlights are done. Now I did some little extra step. I'm not sure if you can see it, but over on his helmet I did some streaks, just like some kind of battle damage, and around armor some places I just put it, like for example his fist over here has some streaks. I don't know if you can see that, but I did it just to give it a bit more wear. It's really just an optional step if you want to do it. And there's some on the helmet, but basically you can just go around and neat up those edges that you messed up with the wash, and you are ready for the next. We are going to use Andrea blue, and we are going to work on his med pack here. We are just going to paint these side cornered or whatever they are. We are just going to paint those with Andrea blue, and be very careful not to mess up anything else while you are doing it. So base coat is finished, and we are going to use some sky blue and just give it a subtle highlight. As with everything, you want to just do it very neat and subtle, like so, just to give it a little bit light so it can stand out a little bit. Nothing much. With blue colors done, I also decided to do some battle damage or worn out effect, however you wish to call it. And now we are going to work on this little cross over here, and we are going to repeat the same steps. We are going to base coat it with the intermediate green, and then we are just going to highlight it with light green. And you can always do that battle damage if you want to. Just be very careful not to overdo it. You want to be subtle about it, as with all this so far. So we are just going to paint this cross green. With the cross done, don't forget there's one on the inside, so you have to paint that one too. And there's also these green thingies on the gun. I don't know how are they called, or how should we call them, and you use the same two colors and do the same exact thing. Base coat with intermediate green and then just highlight it with the light green. So you have to go and be very careful not to mess up the gun because it is almost finished. Just be careful. Green parts of the gun are finished, and we are going to go the same way with some red parts of this gun, and we are going to base coat everything with carmine red, and then you are going to use vermilion just to give it that subtle highlight. And the parts we are going to paint red, there's no many of them. We are going to paint this lower part of the handle, and you wanna paint this tip and just the tip, nothing else. We finished all the red parts, and there's no many red parts to paint for this gun, and now we just need to highlight his entire clothes, his visor, and these three round thingies on the forehead. And for that we are going to go with the neutral gray, and with every highlight so far you now know how to do everything. You just be very subtle about it and just give it a highlight here and there, nothing much. With these highlights done, you use same neutral gray color and just paint the base of the miniature in a neutral gray. And be very careful not to go over the legs or anything that you painted so far. And when you are done with that, miniature is complete. So the miniature is complete, but I'm not really happy how some things turned out, so we are going to do some add-ons. First of all, we are going to use sky gray, and we are going to go over these spheres on his forehead because I don't like them like that. They don't pop out enough, so you just be very careful to leave that background, to leave it in the dark, and just make these spheres pop out. So with the forehead done, it looks much better. And now I want to go with the red, and with those red, you know, that carmine red and vermilion as highlight, and I want to paint some more of these gun features. And I want to paint this top of the gun, and over here at the bottom just a little line, and then highlight it just to give it a nicer look. So with these little touch-ups, the miniature is done. You can use some white color and just give a subtle highlight to these spheres on the forehead. Nothing much, just a little dot to give it kind of glowy effect, and we can say that miniature is complete. So it was really fun to paint this one. I hope you like this tutorial, and until next time, pozdrav!